Hey everybody, what's up? Small update on Metal Gear Rex. I started taking everything apart and basically going back and gluing things that I want glued and sanding certain parts, like for instance this piece here. It's very free up to, you can actually probably hear it scraping. It's very tight in there, and I don't want to go to articulate the figure later on, or model. Well, I guess it is kind of like a figure when you're done, but I don't want to articulate it later and end up scraping off paint. So I'm kind of trying to get to that stuff and thin some parts out just a little. It seemed to work pretty good on, I did it in there, like up in here, and I did it up in there, and it seemed to work pretty good. Once that's primered, everything should work pretty good. That's gonna be a little complicated. I'm still trying to work that out. But yeah, basically I'm trying to clean all these parts up, get them glued, and get them all ready to put primer on them. I'm gonna have to really carefully mask some things, like all the balls on the socket joints. But yeah, it's pretty sure I am taking it apart and getting it ready. I put the upper part of the cockpit in here, and the window for the lighting I think should be perfect. If I get an LED positioned in there just right, when the mouth opens, it should shine down right at the pilot, and when the mouth is closed, the light should capture, like bounce around in there enough to illuminate the spots. And I made a little boo-boo there, hollowing out that. I accidentally broke that part right there, but hopefully I fill that with epoxy and it won't be a problem. You can see it was like that little piece. It was like that little piece in the center. It just broke out. I could probably find a piece of styrene and glue it in there, but I don't know if I really need to. And then the front, I probably showed this before in the other video. Actually, I'm almost positive I did. But those are going to get filled with clear epoxy with a short length of fiber optic in the back so that the light hits them. I'm thinking about maybe lining up like 3 small pieces in each of these slots, but I don't know if that's worth the trouble it's going to be. I did a little bit of work on this part here. Thinking about putting a bigger fiber optic in there. I mean, you guys can see. Oh. You can see how it lights up. I mean, it's pretty good. I didn't want it to be overpowering. I want it to be easy to take photographs of it when it's finished. I'm gonna have to do some light blocking in there. I'm gonna try to isolate the LED that's gonna the LED that's gonna illuminate those 2 fiber optic wires. It's gonna be one on either side. The LED is going to be isolated as much as possible with heat shrink and epoxy and whatever else I have to use to get it from bleeding light. These, I mean, they look pretty good on film. They are maybe a little bit dull in person. So I'm thinking about using, like what I have in there right now. I'm not even sure the measurement. It's probably a 1mm fiber. I have that in there right now. And I'm thinking about maybe putting that in. I wouldn't have to flare the end of this as much, and this ends up being closer to the diameter of the actual clear parts that belong in there. So I guess that's a plus. I mean, that's actually much closer in size than when I flared this. This didn't flare as widely as I anticipated it to. But I'm thinking about using two pieces of that, or four rather, instead, and getting it to light up just a little bit more. I still have a really cool plan for this. We'll just wait for the batteries and the battery holders to get here. The batteries came from the States, so they're getting here tomorrow, and the holders are coming from China, so that's going to be like another week. But I have a pretty darn good idea for this, to light up both the scope and do a little bit of an effect inside the railgun itself. I mean, that's just too cool to not do something neat with it. But yeah, that's... Oh, and speaking of primer, I actually used some of that Mr. Finishing Surfacer, and I'm pretty impressed, honestly. That part's... I did both hip armor pieces that sit on his hip, and it grabbed the detail pretty good. I did discover a sink mark right there along the top edge. I don't know if I'm going to fix it. It probably wouldn't be too hard, but I'll probably end up fixing it. I shouldn't, but I probably will. Yeah, basically I just shot a coat of primer on each armor piece. Some spots in person look like maybe it's not 100% full coverage, but I'm okay with that. It should be just fine. It's a lacquer primer, so it should bite into the plastic a little better. And I washed them with... I've been doing the dish detergent and warm water method of washing all my parts, and it's been fine. But it's a lot of work, and after watching... I just recently watched the Adam Savage building the Cosmonaut kit from Industria Mechanica, and he mentions people cleaning parts, washing parts in detergent and water, and he doesn't believe that it's necessary, and I find that kind of interesting. So I decided this time to just do a quick wipe down with alcohol on any parts that I was spraying with primer, and that should honestly be sufficient. I had a little bit lift off of that, honestly, and I washed those parts with detergent and water. But I think, honestly, I primered that with Vallejo surface primer out of my airbrush, and I just don't think that stuff is very resilient. It's not very hard. I can scratch it off pretty easily. I don't know if that's normal, but that's just my experience with it. It's really good stuff. It goes on really smooth. It's really nice, but it doesn't like to stay on for me, and I don't know why that is. But anyways, that's where I'm kind of at right now. I'm hoping that by tomorrow, I work tomorrow and then I'm off the next day, so I'm hoping to get a lot of work put in on this. I want to get to work on the Ray Dome and get to work on the TMD backpack. And I need to start brainstorming on the placement of the LEDs, where I'm going to place everything, because this part here, that's going to be a pretty tight fit up in there. I kind of wish that I could use a surface mount LED, but I think the voltages are considerably different than a regular LED. I might be mistaken, but I think I remember the voltages being different, and I don't want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. See the holes where the fiber optics will come through. They'll be almost invisible once the whole kit's together. You'll never get a good angle to see in there. I'm basically thinking I'm going to paint this whole top part of the head as one piece, maybe even with the that part put into it, and just do the whole head as one piece. I have to be able to take this apart, obviously, so I can get to the batteries that are going to be in there. Well, the battery that's going to be in there. Hopefully one battery. I think that if I wire, since I only really want it to be 3 LEDs, one for either side of the searchlights and one inside of the tip of the nose, I should be able to, if they're 3-volt LEDs, I should be able to wire them parallel and just use one button cell battery, one CR1220. And hopefully that'll work. I did a little bit of modification. Figure I'll mention this. I did a little bit of modification to this part of the kit. Those 2 parts there, where these pieces fit in. I should have left one undone to demonstrate, but see that slot? That slot in the piece there? There used to be a tab in there. You can actually see where it used to be. There used to be a tab in there. And basically I clipped it a bunch of times with a side cutter and then cut it all out with one of these scoring blades. It's very similar to like a Tamiya design knife. It's a very sturdy blade, and it's good for shaving things off of a surface, shaving off pin marks, etc. But basically what I did was I shaved the tab off so that I can just place this piece, focus, so I can just place this piece in and out of the kit, because I wanted to attach these to paint that whole thing, and I wanted to leave this to paint this separately, and I wouldn't be able to put it in if I didn't. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at now. Hope you guys like my progress so far. Hope you guys keep tuning in. That's pretty much it. Catch you guys later.